Hello, Waterford students. It's Mrs. Durst. And today, Meriwether and I are with you to start lesson 4, where we are going to learn all about how setting is used in art. Setting is so important. It's like setting the stage in a theater performance or setting the scene in a movie. Setting in art really pulls you in, really communicates with us through time and space. We really start to understand what an artist is trying to talk to us about. So let's go and look at some famous art this week where setting is the main component and the main tool that these artists love to use. Okay. Our first famous painting today is called The School of Athens by Raphael. This was painted 511 years ago. It was painted in 1509 by Raphael, who painted this on a wall. This is actually a big mural, and he did this for the Pope in Rome. And this particular mural is found in the Pope's library. This is one of the best paintings ever created where setting is everything. It is a Roman palace with approximately, I think, 50 of the world's most incredible philosophers, thinkers. And these are thinkers that didn't live at the same time in the world. But Raphael painted them all together in this one room, all dealing with each other at the same time. In the very middle of this painting, under all these beautiful Roman arches, is Plato and Aristotle. Plato is pointing at the sky. And if we could look at him really close up, Raphael used Leonardo Da Vinci's facial features in Plato's. So it's some of the best and most wonderful thinkers of Raphael's time painted into the picture because, of course, there were no photographs of the ancient philosophers. So he took some license and brought in some neat countenances or faces of famous people. Aristotle is pointing to the ground. Aristotle believed men had to experiment and experience to get knowledge. And we see Plato kind of pointing up because he believed you got some revelation before you became completely knowledgeable. So they're talking it out there. Throughout this painting, there are other very famous philosophers, but they're not just sitting there calmly doing nothing. They are creating true scholarship right in front of us. They are discussing, they are experimenting, they are showing, they are presenting, they are arguing. And I think this painting is phenomenal to look at each individual human and see how they are dealing with the humans around them. But it's because of the setting, the fact that all these people are together in one room, that is truly phenomenal. Okay, let's go to the next one. In 1930, Grant Wood painted a father and daughter in front of a house. And this has become one of the 20th century's most iconic paintings ever, this image. This house is found in Iowa. It's called the Dibble House. And without the setting, that house on that farm, this painting would just not be as exceptional. So the setting creates an all-American farm, the man with his pitchfork, the daughter kind of looking off to the side. And it's the setting that really brings us into this picture, makes us feel. It's 1930s America, so we know that the Great Depression is occurring. So these individuals are not smiling. However, when we look out to the back, we kind of get to know who they are. They have a barn and they have a house, and hey, they must work a farm. So very famous. And again, that house and that setting creates the iconic image that we relate to in this painting. One of my favorite settings is this painting. Pierre-Auguste Renoir painted Luncheon of the Boating Party in about 1880. Now, Renoir was really close friends with Monet. Remember, water lily guy. He painted in France with Renoir. And Renoir is famous because he had an eye not only for clothing and fashion, but also for the setting his paintings took place in. I can almost hear the conversation, the clinking of the glassware and the forks and the knives. I can almost hear laughter. I can feel breeze because I see that the awning's edge there looks like it's undulating, and then a breeze might be coming off the water. This was a real place. This restaurant was there, and you could only get to this restaurant mostly by your boat. So this beautiful place was kind of an oasis outside of Paris. This wonderful, relaxing, laughing, happy image sets a stage. You can almost imagine what these people might be saying to each other. I can almost imagine how delicious that grape is in the fruit basket on the table. So the setting is exceptional. And I absolutely love Renoir's Luncheon of the Boating Party. One of Renoir's friends we talked about is Monet. In fact, Renoir painted Monet painting because they were such good friends. This iconic image is at Monet's garden. Remember, we talked about how he loved to paint water lilies. In fact, Monet painted 200 paintings of water lilies. But as far as setting goes, he painted 18 or more paintings of this Japanese bridge in his own garden. He actually moved 50 miles outside of Paris and created his own gardens. He designed them. He designed this water lily pond, and he designed this bridge. And this bridge in Impressionist painting is one of the most recognized settings in all of art. It is Claude Monet's Japanese footbridges. Here's one, and here's another. So you can see he painted them with different colors and different times of day and in different lighting. So it's an immense little pond that goes way back on the property with this gorgeous bridge that comes over it. And I think it's just gorgeous. Another fabulous use of setting in art. Aha! Not happy, you say? Well, The Scream by Edouard Manet. By the way, in 2015, this painting called The Scream sold for $120 million. So definitely a very important, and some will tell you that this is probably one of the most recognized paintings in all of art. It is used as an icon in marketing in all kinds of ways. So you will see this painting or renditions of this many times in your life. But let's talk about what this painting is. So we see that Edvard in 1893 painted a man on a bridge by water, kind of like Renoir's happy scene. This one, not so happy. Monet's happy scene, this one doesn't feel quite as happy, right? We almost get a sense of anguish from the screen. And it is often related to the time it was painted. Soon after this painting was famous, World War I happened. So many people related World War I with the painting The Scream. However, many historians have unraveled the mystery of The Scream, and they have found in Edvard's own writings that this was not the person screaming. He painted this wonderful painting after witnessing the most amazing sunset he had ever seen. It was a blood red pinks and oranges, a crazy sunset full of color. And he painted the scream, indicating that it wasn't the person screaming, it was nature screaming. And it was so overwhelming to him that he wanted to depict someone trying to close out the amazing nature that he was witnessing. So this could almost be used in our time of day study because it's happening at sunset. And the person is literally trying to take in the amazing beauty or the scream of nature and trying to close it out because it's almost too much. So I found that little bit of history very interesting. And this is so very famous. You will in your lifetime see many, many renditions of that painting. Edgar Degas. He was a French impressionist. We've talked about Monet, Van Gogh, oh gosh, a bunch of guys who were impressionists. But Edgar Degas was one that liked to paint something that he saw in front of him. And he loved the ballet. He was so excited to be able to be a part of the Paris Opera House. And he was allowed to go in and watch ballet rehearsals, ballet classes. He could sit behind the scenes in the sides of the theater and watch different ways the dancers interacted with the setting, the stage, the room. And I think he did a fabulous job of creating a setting. So here we have the ballet picture called The Ballet Rehearsal on Stage. And this was painted in 1874. We see the ballet master trying to set his dancers in the right places as they are learning their parts for the stage. Our second painting by Degas, because I really wanted you to see how well he embodied the setting, is called The Star. So the star is on the stage performing, and you see that people are in the wings waiting to either come on the stage or just watching this amazing dancer taking her talent to the public. And I think the setting is phenomenal. I have no problem understanding what's happening, where I am in this painting. The place is sure. So setting by Edgar Degas was very, very important. Setting. Well, it's hard to compete with the setting we're looking at here as far as what is so important about setting. What we're looking at here was painted in 1497 by Leonardo da Vinci. That's right, Mona Lisa's painter. He painted this. This is a very large mural, and it is painted above a door. So you can see that little cutout just below the table is actually a way to go in and out of the room. So this is a mural on the wall. What we are looking at here is called The Last Supper, and the setting is phenomenal. And how Leonardo da Vinci captured the moment is incredible. What has just occurred in the story of the Last Supper is that Jesus has just said and announced that one of you will betray me. And here are his disciples reacting to that big announcement. This is where setting can transport us to a moment. And the setting of the table, the small little fabulous details that Da Vinci factored into this beautiful piece, it is truly a masterpiece, and one that is probably one of the top 10 paintings of all time. Now, if you're wondering who betrayed Jesus in this painting, we have Judas, whose hand is extended, and so is Jesus. And Da Vinci did a lot of this in this painting. Little secret meanings of things are all in here. And you could spend an hour just studying this picture. But because their hands are basically mimicking each other, it is Da Vinci's way of saying that Jesus knew, and so did Judas. So kind of a neat little thing about that painting. But the fabulous detail, emotion, clothing, food, the way the window in the background lights this wonderful scene, all of it deals with the setting and how phenomenal Da Vinci depicted it here. Here it is a little brighter. Unfortunately, Da Vinci was experimenting with a paint called tempera, which is made with eggs, and it had faded over the years. So scientists have actually done some work to show what it might have looked like when it was painted. And here's an image I wanted to show you. All right, I know what you know. You know that this is a Currier and Ives print, but did you know that this is Salt Lake City? And this was painted 23 years after Brigham Young and his followers came to this valley. So right now we are looking at Salt Lake City, and it's only 23 years old. So what I'm looking at here is very straight streets. If you went to an East Coast town, the streets are just all over the place. Brigham Young and the founders of Salt Lake City created very straight, beautiful streets, nice and wide. And you can see how clean and how beautiful this wonderful setting is. And it's only been there 23 years. We also see the mountains and the Great Salt Lake in the background, and they look kind of scary, honestly. They look a little ominous. And I think Currier and Ives did a great way to depict that Salt Lake was a pioneer town in the middle of the mountains and next to a really large lake. And so there was a lot of natural considerations for this city, right? Now, if you find this print somewhere in someone's house, make sure you tell them to save it forever. This print is one of the rarer Currier and Ives prints, and recently has sold from $4,000 or more. So If you know someone who has one of these around, tell them to keep it and keep it close. This is a Charles Wysocki. Now, we've seen a lot of his paintings that have all kinds of things happening, lots of action, lots of weather, lots of the time of day is used in Charles Wysocki's pictures. But this setting in this painting is very key. This is called Frederick the Literate, and literacy or literate means reading. So we're obviously in someone's library, and Frederick the cat has fallen asleep. And what is so neat about this painting and what's fun about it is that the names of the books are things like A Tale of Two Kitties, or The Three Mouseketeers, or the field guide to garbage cans, or holy cats, or mouse traps of all kinds. So he made fun of his setting by using cat-oriented names in all of the books. And I think it just sets the stage for this lovely, quiet, obviously sleepy cat. So cute. This was painted in 1992 by Charles Wysocki. My favorite Ben Richmond. This is called Romancing the Sea. And what we're looking at here is the setting. We're looking at one of the old fashioned sailing ships, one of the big old wood ones. And what was commonly used in the front part of the ship, the prow, was a carved wooden statue of a woman. Sometimes the woman looked like a mermaid, or sometimes the woman was, like this, obviously a woman, but they were perched on the front of the ship, all beautifully carved and painted. And the statue embodied the spirit of the ship, and it also provided protection for the sailors and the ship. So it was a lucky charm. These wooden statues are called figureheads, and they're very rare nowadays to get a real figurehead because, of course, these old wooden sailing ships have gone by the wayside. But I think they're phenomenally beautiful. I think the sentiment behind the luck and the hope for protection is very lovely. And I love how Ben Richmond set the scene for his painting, which is looking up at the figurehead of a ship called the Rose. Here's some other figureheads that are real on different wonderful wood sailing ships. And you can see they're all females and all there to provide luck for the crew and the ship. Just beautiful. Ben Richmond's Romancing the Sea. Our last two pictures or paintings are by Alan Malley. Alan Malley captured the setting here of Egypt, and in a different way. We're not looking right at the pyramids of Egypt, but we definitely know we are in Egypt. We are looking from a tour boat, and everyone is dressed in their summer clothing, light suits, cotton dresses, straw hats. And the ship is traveling here to see the sights of Egypt. And the setting is clear. Okay. And our final painting of today is Alan Malley's A Festive Occasion, where a couple is being escorted to their table or going to their table in one of the most beautiful restaurants I've ever seen. Look at the windows and the details and the flowers and the palms and the lighting. And the setting takes me right there. It transforms all time and space. I can almost hear the conversation, the music, the clinking of the tableware. And I am transported through the setting of this art to this time and place. And it speaks of a romantic, gorgeous evening where the food will be great, and I can sense it. So I think setting really works here. So I hope you enjoyed learning about setting. I hope that you will find your lesson 4, and Meriwether and I will get together with you and we'll work through this whole packet together in our next video. Until then, take care.